Whilst extermination of urban foxes, or indeed rural ones, is neither desirable nor possible, problem foxes do need to be controlled, and in urban areas that is the responsibility of the owner or occupier of the property, who can use legal methods to cull or remove foxes.
Last summer, a number of my constituents were attacked in their own homes by urban foxes, including Annie Bradwell, who lost part of her ear, and Natasha David, who was bitten twice as she slept in her bed. Could the Minister liaise with the Community Secretary to see if we could change the law so that urban foxes could be treated as vermin in the same way that rats and mice are?
Mara, let's just stand still so I can't catch you. Good sneeze, Bambi. Sneeze. Good sneeze.
It's not to be recommended to anybody to take a wild animal and foster it as I did and look after it, because it is a mega responsibility. It's more of a responsibility than having a dog. Don't bring me any more fox cubs because you fall in love with them and you then have to give them up. And of course I would do it again, you know. And I definitely would do it again. But every time you do it, you learn something else. The second fox cub, Foxy, he, as I said, was a very different character to Rusty. From the word go, although he was actually probably younger than Rusty when I first got him, but from the word go, he was like a little dog. And he grew up with my own dog. Well, both of them did actually, but he was very, very domesticated. I mean, not coming from me, but you know, he soon learnt his name. He would come and I'd say to him, Foxy, sit. And he'd sit and he would jump over my leg. He could do little circles. He could, you know, do things that my dog does, little tricks that my dog does.
Circle, Bambi. Good girl. Stand. Stand. Do a trick. Sit.
Foxy is now 3 and we're still in contact with him. You know, he's probably in London, he's probably in one of the safest fox areas because he's not on a road. Okay, there are dogs around, but he does still have a bolt hole to run to if necessary. Sadly, foxes do get poisoned, and we have in the past had foxes poisoned on scrubs.
corridor, is this where the fox was
He
kept?
used to stay there, yes.
So you had plenty of room, plenty of run, didn't you?
Yeah.
How did the ducks and did they feel threatened?
No,
Or?
they did. They never felt threatened.
No?
They're quite characters, aren't they?
They are. He forgot to shut them in,
Yeah.
and the fox did actually get both of them.
Well, that's
but that
it.
was
but
nature.
that's-
You know, that
well,
was.
not nature. It was them being opportunists and the
Yeah.
human failing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lost, not here, but I've lost chickens at home.
Yeah.
In the same way, you know, just didn't shut them in at night and lost the whole lot. But it doesn't stop you loving them.
No, exactly.
Did we let Sabrina out? Did she come out? Oh, it was hilarious because at the time there was nobody else in the house. Kate had gone to America, and I had both these animals in the house. You know, when she'd left, there was nothing here other than humans, and then when she came back, there was a puppy and a fox cub, and they would have crazy half hour in the evenings, you know, dusk time, and little Sabrina and Bambi still do, but they'd go flying up and down the stairs. They'd be pinging on the furniture. Well, I think there would be many a religious sister who wouldn't be rescuing fox cubs or dogs, but for me, I suppose before I ever became a religious sister, I was an animal lover. You know, and that is something that I've had from before I can even remember. You know, sort of as a babe in arm, I was stretching out to get to horses and things like that. So I think it's just in my genes. I like to think I'm in love with creation, you know, the whole of creation. Rescuing foxes, there's many a person that wouldn't rescue foxes because they wouldn't know what to do, or they'd be terrified, or they'd be whatever. I didn't go out looking to rescue foxes. Both foxes sort of came to me. I don't mean literally came to me, but I was just given that responsibility at that time.
Do you pray for your fox?
Oh, I pray for all my animals.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So when you was first introduced to the fox, was he a tiny cub? What?
He was quite small, and Lucian was sitting here, actually more or less in this place, because that settee was here. And I said, "Do you want to see the fox?" So I went and got the fox, and he held him, and the fox sort of curled up on his lap, and
Oh my goodness.
etc. etc. David Dawson took some pictures of him as well, and there's a classic picture. Sabrina, okay. There's a classic picture of Lucian, not on. Oh well, it's that one.
How did he feel about foxes? Do you know?
Oh, he loved them. He absolutely he really liked foxes. He really loved animals. There was no doubt about it. Lucian was a very animal orientated person, so animals can pick that up. Horses as well as dogs and foxes and what was interesting, because the first horse he painted was not an easy horse. I was a bit slightly concerned because this particular horse does bite. I mean, I did pre-warn. The horse was so relaxed and so chilled out. Lucian was one of these artists that, well, maybe all artists are like this, I don't know, but he only painted something that at the time meant something to him. So, and if he was doing a portrait of somebody, he wouldn't just paint that person because she said, "Can you paint me?" or something. It would have to be the person he was painting, not just the image.
Right.
And he would have to be able to get on,
express it
with
well.
that person. He was just sitting on my hand like that, little black creature. I think he was very cold because we found several frozen dead fox cubs, so he wouldn't have survived.
Right.
I mean, he was a bit of a survivor, probably, to have survived the length of time that
Right.
he did. I was feeding him with a pipette, and he was having infantile fits, which, you know, can be quite fatal, really.
And how many times a day did you have to do this?
Quite a few.
I can imagine, like having a baby.
Quite
isn't
a
it?
few. Well, probably more than you would feed a baby. And in the night, you know, sort of, I didn't leave him for long at night. The second fox cub I had was far more problematic to feed, and he just wouldn't.
Fussy eater?
He was an extremely fussy eater, very, very fussy eater, and he wouldn't eat tin food.
So did you have to go to the butcher's?
I did.
Very joy.
I did. He was so fussy, really, really fussy. But of course he had me wrapped round his little paw. The lifespan of a urban fox is only about 18 months, whereas a rural fox could live 10 plus years. So the foxes at Scrubs, you would call them more rural than urban because hopefully they don't go onto the roads, but most urban foxes are roadkill, killed by dogs or killed by poison. You know, people don't like foxes.
The idea of causing an animal suffering just for the pleasure of it is so abhorrent to most Britons, I think, to most people who have been that, you know, it's unthinkable. The cruelty has to stop. It's time. You know, the hunting has to stop. We should move on from this. Basically, they want to dress up and go out and have fun killing things. I mean, there's no getting away from it.
But do you really think they do? Do you really think they think,
Oh,
actually,
absolutely.
what a great day to cull a living creature?
Yes, I think the core of them do. There's a lot of people who go out just for the ride, and I can appreciate that. You know, nice fresh air, let's say, to across the countryside. But there's a core of people who want to see that fox torn apart, and it makes them feel good. It's like sex to them, I suppose. But to me, that's not the kind of thing you can allow to go on in 2010. You know, we used to burn witches at the stake. We used to have slaves. You know, I'm sorry. You know, it all has to go. We cannot be abusing animals just for the hell of it.
I would hate to think of foxes being torn to bits by hounds. But I'm not in agreement to fox hunting because I love foxes. But there could be far worse things. The community, rural community, should not be destroyed. And one of the things that was happening with the ban on hunting was a lot of people were losing their jobs, rural way of life was being destroyed. Now, having been a hunt servant, I have seen it from both sides. Not very many foxes were caught. And
Yes.
I'm not saying, well, that makes it right.
No.
I personally would not go fox hunting because, you know, I couldn't bear to think that was happening. Okay, it may cause a fox stress to be chased by a pack of hounds, and you know how awful, but it would cause no more stress than a dog on Wormwood Scrubs Park chasing a fox.
I started fox hunting, riding fox hunting from the age of, I suppose, 10. And I spent most Saturdays from during the winter months riding to hounds. And I just feel that it becomes your blood. I'm sure that when you were a servant, you felt the same way. I remember going into some of the fields, you know, of when the lambs were tiny baby lambs, and you know, foxes had been there, and they'd had like 10, 15 lambs, and just killed them for the sake of killing them and just tearing their...
fox never kills for the sake of killing.
Well, they were kind of, I remember going to the field and there were like 8 lambs that were kind of, you know, that had been killed through foxes during the night. And you just think, you know, the farmers, you know, that's their livelihood, you know, you have to kind of take on board, that's what, you know, was their, it's traditionally the way that they feel that, you know, the foxes have got to be culled in a way. And I think fox hunting is perhaps the most, I know it sounds, but perhaps kindest in a way.
Well, fox hunting, like you, Isabel, having been on a farm situation and having experienced our own animals being killed by foxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But foxes are opportunist, and you know
they're cunning. And they
they're
take it
very
away.
but there's nothing wrong with being cunning.
No,
that's
absolutely.
a survival thing.
Absolutely.
And they're highly intelligent animals. But a fox, when people say they just kill for the sake of it, I don't think that is the case. A fox will kill, take away the carcass, bury it somewhere, and will come back again for another one until it's removed all what it has killed. But in the meantime, that probably isn't hasn't happened because the farmer or whoever
Has discovered
discovered.
it. Yes, yes.
But-
maybe, yes.
they kill for a reason. And their reason is that they need a food supply.
Yeah.
If coal's not the answer, what do you think is?
Or do we need an answer? As humans, we have destroyed so much natural habitat of animals throughout the world. And why do we have to cull foxes that live alongside us? I think we are very fortunate to be able to look out of our windows and see a highly intelligent, adaptable animal, not very distant from a pet dog, canine, living alongside us. They're not wild dogs, but they are, very closely related to our own dogs. And a beautiful creature. Who doesn't love foxes?